The Ukraine-Russia crisis has become a full-blown one, and football, like all walks of life, has been impacted in the country due to the war between two countries. Russia's actions have drawn a lot of criticism from all corners, and naturally FIFA and UEFA also sought to take measures following President Vladimir Putin's indiscretions, and it appears that the English politicians are out for blood, and have shown a very unforgiving attitude towards Russian billionaires settled in the West. One of those oligarchs happens to be Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich, who is now in panic mode and is reportedly keen to sell the club. We're going to talk about this issue in detail, but we also have a few interesting things to talk about. For instance, how can we ignore the rebirth of Mario Balotelli, the enfant terrible of Italian football? The Globetrotter has finally found a place to settle down. Newcastle United paid a lot of money to sign Bruno Guimaraes, but the Brazilian has not featured enough for the Magpies. What's going on there? We've gotten a hold of a very interesting report which shows which football clubs have the best academies in the world. Before we get started, we want to share the sponsor of today's video. The OneFootball app is the ultimate football platform and is a must-have for every football fan, so that you can follow all of your favourite leagues, teams and players all the time right from your phone. You can be sure to turn on notifications for specific players to be instantly alerted when they score a goal or when they are involved in other breaking news. It is the best and easiest way to stay up to date with everything football. Click the link in the description down below to download the app right now. You won't regret it. Across Europe, player development has taken an increasingly important place within clubs, and some have even built part of their reputation on it, such as Ajax Amsterdam or FC Barcelona. These young academy players are also an opportunity to develop a source of income, since the training costs quickly seem derisory after a transfer, which can cost several million euros. The International Centre for Sports Studies, CIES, which is based in Neuchâtel in Switzerland, has just delivered its latest report, and it concerns the sums collected for the transfers of players trained since the summer of 2015. France is particularly well placed in this area. Indeed, the club that made the most money thanks to the sale of its academy players is AS Monaco. The Principality club has gleaned 246 million euros over the past 7 years. The flagship transfer is of course that of Kylian Mbappe to Paris Saint-Germain for 180 million euros. But we can also think of the transfers of Layvin Kurzawa to PSG for 25 million euros and Yannick Carrasco to Atletico for 15 million euros. Renowned as a club that knows how to sell well and knows how to develop a player, AS Monaco are just ahead of Real Madrid. La Fabrica is an immense source of talent, and Alvaro Morata, who joined Juventus for 20 million euros and Chelsea for 66 million euros, is the one who brought in the most money for Los Blancos. In total, the Spaniards have raised 236 million euros through the sale of academy players. Third place goes to another French club, Olympique Lyonnais. The last 7 years saw the departure of a golden generation made up of Samuel Umtiti to Barcelona, Alexandre Lacazette to Arsenal, and Corentin Tolisso to Bayern Munich. The French giants made 228 million euros in the last 7 years through the sale of academy graduates. The top 10 also includes other prestigious academies owned by Ajax, Benfica, Atalanta and Schalke 04. Stade Rennais, who sold Eduardo Camavinga to Real Madrid last summer for 31 million euros, have also done well, raising 101 million euros through academy graduate sales. Arriving from Olympique Lyonnais during the last winter transfer window against the cheque of over 40 million euros, Bruno Guimaraes hopes to become one of the great architects of the rescue operation for Newcastle, now 14th in the Premier League. A major signing for the Magpies, the 24-year-old Brazilian already raises some questions after a month spent in Tyneside. The young midfielder was apparently eager to sign for the nouveau riche of English football, but things haven't exactly gone to plan. Relegated to the bench, the Brazilians only played 30 minutes for Newcastle so far. Long stuck in the relegation zone, Newcastle are now undefeated since January 8. They're unbeaten in their last 7 outings in the league. The revival is driven by Eddie Howe, but not a lot can be credited to the marquee signing. The sporting situation with the player might not be worrying right now, but nevertheless leaves some questions. Why is the player currently waxing the bench? The first reason is pretty simple. The player arrived at a new club and needs time to settle. It's difficult to blame the manager who wants to take things slow. Moreover, Guimaraes had only just returned from a long trip after playing 2 World Cup qualification games for the Seleção. In the 2-0 win over Brentford, Guimaraes replaced Jacob Murphy in the 64th minute. At that time, the Bees were a man down and the Brazilian was able to hold his own. In the role of a conductor, Guimaraes showed his abilities in midfield. Within 30 minutes, he showed what he's capable of. The Brazilian had more touches on the ball than any other player on the field during his cameo appearance, and completed 25 out of his 29 passes. This was a successful introduction and showed us that Guimaraes is going to be a key player for the Magpies in the upcoming weeks. The period of adaptation is pretty much over for the player, and we can guarantee that the Brazilian is going to be seeing a lot more minutes on the pitch from here on in. A true globetrotter, Mario Balotelli has settled in Turkey this season. Ahead of the current Super League campaign, Adana Demirspor made some really good signings. The likes of Younes Belhanda, Brit Assombalonga and Benjamin Stambouli were brought in, but no signing was better than that of Mario Balotelli. Free after a season with Monza where he scored 6 goals in 14 appearances, the native of Palermo, who admitted to regretting his decision to play in Serie B, was determined to bounce back. After Italy, England and France, it was therefore in Turkey that he signed for the 10th club of his career. A club that is doing quite well for the moment among the elite, since it's currently 5th in the standings and 4 points from 2nd place, and Super Mario is no stranger to it. Silent during the first 4 game weeks, he then scored 5 goals during the next 6 before experiencing a small period of austerity. But he still finished the first part of the season with 8 goals in 20 appearances in all competitions. The year 2022 has started rather well, with 3 goals including a double in 5 games. This brings his total to 11 goals in 24 games, 10 in the league, 1 in the Turkish Cup. In other good news for Super Mario, Roberto Mancini called him up for Italy at the end of January, a return after a long absence. It had been 3 years since I had spoken to him. I called him because he is old. He's 31 years old. Maybe his mind is better now. When Mario arrived in Manchester, he had incredible talent. He was young and had great qualities. He has always trained well. He's also a good guy, Mancini explained. A trainer who is well aware of the bad boy version and the escapades of Super Mario. But since then, a lot has changed. Balotelli came to Italy to play football, he's very disciplined and seems to be more dedicated. And it was obvious that the traditional giants in Turkish football are observing the players' performances. Fans of Galatasaray and Fenerbahce want to see him in their teams, and Adana might do business if they see the sense in it. But all in all, it is great to see Balotelli find happiness on the football pitch once again. Hit hard by the current conflict between Russia and Ukraine due to the existing links between Roman Abramovich, owner of the Blues, and the Russian state, Chelsea are going through a strong zone of turbulence. Threatened with heavy sanctions by the British Parliament, the Russian oligarch billionaire could thus plunge the London club into an unprecedented crisis. Concern reigns on the side of Chelsea. While Vladimir Putin recently ordered his troops to enter Ukrainian territory, Premier League giants find themselves directly impacted by this geopolitical order which is currently affecting all of Europe. The reason? Roman Abramovich. Targeted by the British Parliament because of his close ties with the Russian state and his public association with corrupt activities and practices, as the Times points out, the 55-year-old oligarch could thus considerably weaken the London club. Labour MP Chris Bryant has already said that the Russian should no longer be able to own the club until he condemns the invasion of Ukraine. While sports and politics should not go hand in hand, this particular conflict involves the club as well, and naturally, Thomas Tuchel and his players are also under a lot of scrutiny. The German tactician knows what is happening, and there is also a chance that Chelsea could go bankrupt. Even if the British Parliament forces Abramovich to sell, the billionaire is owed €1.5 billion by the club, and if the owner decides to use the club as leverage against the penalties, things could get ugly. Of course, Abramovich would feel that he's being scapegoated for Putin's actions, and in order to pull out his investment, the Chelsea owner will opt to sell the club while ensuring that he is paid what he's owed, and the British government also can't afford to upset football fans by leaving Chelsea hanging out to dry. The scenario is of nightmarish proportions, and new groups have reportedly been linked with the takeover. For the time being, Chelsea are under new management, while Abramovich takes a step back from his involvement at the club, while hoping for the storm to pass. But will it?